Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's proclamation news and gatherance with the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson. It's Friday. Happy weekend. Friday. Everyone be packing up for the weekend from work. Looking forward to the shenanigans at the weekend. Thank you very much. We're coming flux with the flow and flux with the show. Everyone's looking forward to the weekend shenanigans. Take it easy. It's up to you how you live your life, but I don't want to keep preaching. Stay safe and everything, but enjoy your weekend. As long as you come out the other side, that's all that matters. We've got a lot on today. We've got a lot of criminal law as per usual. More stabbings, more victims, and more offenders. Day in, day out. So you've got more work for the police, more work for the NHS. Also, we have racketeering going on in the NHS as well. Someone's stealing money for the NHS. All that hard work they're doing, one of the workers is stealing cash from the NHS. How shocking, absorbing information. I just want to say thank you ever so much for tuning in to Proclamation News and Gatherance. Obviously, I need to get my my background in check to make it a bit more professionalism when we go live on the show. Absolutely. There's a few different programs I can download to make my, as you've seen in weeks before. I've had some great background activity going on my YouTube. Makes it more professional, more etiquette in style, and pragmatic with sense. Look, you've got to make you stand out from the crowd, haven't you, when people come tuning in? You've got the prodigious, prominent Professor Johnson, so he says, but he's got a plain background. Doesn't look so professional, does it? But anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. You have a great weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. Like I say, you're part of the aristocracy social league just for listening in, because you're observed and both preserved. Absolutely. You beauty. If you do want to give any constructive criticism towards the show, or anything you'd like to outline, causing you a provocation. Reading the media day in, day out causes anyone a provocation, to be honest with you. I come away thinking, I can't believe more stabbings happening. How can we tackle this, prevent this from happening? Brentwood Bar, Bloc 40, allowed to reopen after suspicion over double stabbing. Emergency services rushed to Brentwood High Street following reports of a disturbance outside Bloc 40. Police were called to Brentwood High Street to respond to a stabbing. A Brentwood bar has been told it will not have its licence revoked after double stabbing. Emergency services rushed to Brentwood High Street following reports of a disturbance outside Bloc 40 just after 20 past 1 a.m. on Saturday, May the 29th. Two men aged in their 20s have sustained stab wounds to their legs and were taken to hospital for treatment. Their injuries were reported as non-life threatening. Bloc 40 subsequently had its licence suspended ahead of a full licence review, which took place on Monday, June the 28th. The meeting heard that instead of revoking the licence altogether, it will remain suspended until August. A decision statement read out to the committee said, on this occasion, the subcommittee does not consider it appropriate to revoke the licence. Instead, the subcommittee's decision is to suspend the premises licence. Why do you think they suspend their licence? It's down to the security to check people coming in, isn't it? To see who's got knives on them, who hasn't. They need to do people checks on the way in. It's suspended until August the 20th at 6 p.m. The reason why it needs to get revoked, because it could be a lot of things. Doormen could be friendly to people that are bringing these weapons in and not searching them, strip searching them. Why aren't they doing their job? They need high-end security. They don't care about the public and only about the safety of the people. That's what they need. Not to take bribery or whatever, They need to get knuckled down or just shut the bar down. If they can't get the security they need, shut the bar down. Simple as that. Some new conditions have been imposed on the bar. These include a condition that the outside licensed area will have a screen installed along the wall to a maximum of 2 metres to prevent objects from falling off or being thrown. Door staff will need to be on terrace after 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights, as well as public holidays until closing time. Noise reduction measures will need to be installed too. David Dadds, a licensed lawyer representing Bloc 40, said, "From the police submission, there is no history here. This is the first matter of proper intervention, and therefore we dealt with it in a professional way." Definitely need to brush up on security on these nightclubs where you've got young juveniles going out. Are the doormen getting bribed? It's not necessarily the thought of getting bribed, it's the thought of all they're doing is going to work 9 till 5 to put baked beans and toast on the table. You know, do they want to search everyone while they're getting threatened? Or abruptive mannerism, people come through the door. That's the odds up against, you know. You can't really throw that at them and say they're not good at their job or not fit for purpose, because they're doing their job. Same as police. Police won't arrest everybody. Otherwise there wouldn't be no drug dealers on the street, would there? Police will arrest what suits and fits them 9 times out of 10. But we're not going to write them off either, because they do a magnificent job also. Man charged with common assault after Chris Whitty incident. We're not going to write any of the officials off, because, you know, they've got to do what makes land end meet. It's the same as any job you do in this world. So you can't be sit there be a critic when you're sitting there in the supermarket not doing your job properly. These are, you know, professionals, emergency professionals. Professor Whitty has been a key government advisor during the pandemic. The man has been charged with common assault after England's chief medical officer, Professor Chris Whitty, was accosted by a group of men in a London park. Lewis Hughes, 23, of Whitton Way in Romford, was charged on Thursday over the incident, which took place on Sunday, the Met Police said. Officers spoke to the victim, who had not suffered any injuries, and checked his welfare, the force has added. They reviewed video footage which emerged after the incident. Mr. Hughes was charged by postal requisition and will appear at Westminster's Magistrate Court on the 30th of July. At approximately 19:20 hours on Sunday, 27th of June, officers in St James Park become aware of a man accosted by a group of men, the Metropolitan Police said in a statement. Officers subsequently reviewed video footage which emerged after the incident, and the matter was referred to the Public Order Crime Team. Inquiries continue. There you go. We're going to get some justice for Chris Whitty. I mean, it's very important. I mean, again, people probably might find it funny for Chris Whitty to get accosted by these people. They don't deserve to get humiliated. They're health professionals. Chris Whitty, Professor Chris Whitty, is a health professional. Absolutely. You know, they're making the rollout for the vaccine. And, you know, they're the speakers of the country. They deserve some respect of what they do. I mean, these young juveniles just thinking that it's all conspiracy theory. You know, the conspiracy theories. Would you believe the conspiracy theories? Let's face it, these critics, you know, they jump on a bandwagon. Let's go with the conspiracy theorists. But then people are actually dying of COVID. So whatever the disease is, if it's COVID or whatever, if it, you know, ammonia, whatever it is, people are dying of it. So we've got to go with it. People are dying because of X, Y, and Z. Then you've got conspiracy theorists saying that's not this, it's not that. So what is it then? You know, it's just like banging your head off one wall to another. They don't know the answer. Conspiracists are incompetent people, I believe. That's my answer. But anyway, we're going to have a little short break. We've got so much more to get through, so make sure you stay tuned. James O'Brien for a short while. Short preview of James O'Brien. Or are we not James O'Brien?
With what she had to deal with. as she pounded the pavement, once represented by her sister, who was assassinated by a man shouting "Britain first," and then someone who is also a human being, I suppose, technically, opts to run on a party ticket that has as the name the slogan that the terrorist shouted when he shot Joe. So that's why there's no party poppers in this studio today. It's absolute travesty. 11:37 is the time. Back to restrictions. Give me a call. I promise. Well, I can't. I'd like to talk to somebody who really has a problem with masks. All right, and either never wears them or who feels personally affronted by masks. So whether you are currently wearing one reluctantly, or whether you are not, or whether you are going to wait until July the 19th when it seems as if the guidance will change or the status will change. And I can't promise that we won't have a bit of a set to. I can promise that I don't want to. I get no pleasure anymore from those sort of encounters. But just help me see the world as you see it. Well, why has it become such a big deal in your See, probably as I ask this question, you're beginning to wonder why yourself. Why has it become such a big deal in my? I just follow the wrong people on Twitter. Probably. How can it be a big deal wearing a mask? How can it be something that you've decided is a hill you're prepared to die on? I just want to know. All right. 034560600973. Josh is in Manchester. Josh, back to the restrictions. What would you like to say?
Yeah, James, bear with me. First time caller. I've got 2 points to unpack. So
welcome. Carry on.
Thank you. So the main point I was the last year and a half during the height of all Corona, I worked in a small local shop, so I kind of was on the cold front of getting these things coming down from above saying, well, you've got to make people wear a mask. So you try it first, and people are aggressive, start fights with you, wouldn't wear them, would put them round the nose.
Yeah.
And then the new rules have come down like, actually, no, you can't really tell them. Just try and, point the signs out. And it was very wishy-washy and flip-floppy.
Clarity and leadership, mate. Clarity
and leadership. Because most of the supermarkets wash their hands very quickly. Yes, no, we don't want to deal with that. And then we all followed suit with them. And it was very frustrating, honestly, for a year and a half. I have to, because I still tried to enforce it, even though they said you don't have to now. And it's mad.
It's exhausting. Actually, my pal Andreas has been in touch. He's a greengrocer, and he says 17 months, a dozen times a day. He's got a small shop, but with a high footfall, and he just says it's just exhausting telling folks to put their face coverings on. 17 months, about a dozen times a day already.
It was part of what made me the job in the end. You'd have sometimes have old men in the 60s saying, "Can you put your mask on, mate?" And you go, "What?"
Yeah.
I don't need to put my mask on, and then they try and stuff. And you just like, why? Just it's the rules. Just do it, man. It's all for community. I think a lot of it comes down to this hyper-individualistic society we find ourselves in the 21st century. Like,
must be
people
part
don't think they don't think they need to care about other people. It's just me, consumerism. Not to bang on about ideology, but it feels like it these days.
But they won't realise. Presumably, no one's going to ring me and say the reason why I object to wearing a mask is because I'm a hyper-individualistic, weapons-grade, selfish git. They think that what do they think they are? Crusaders, freedom crusaders, or something? I just don't know.
Then you get the people that say, "Nah, it's not even real." And you think, I think it would have taken for those people, like I've always said, they would have had to literally have seen the plague cats on the streets with bodies getting shoved. You know what I mean? Because they're not smart.
No, but mate, even in America, you'd have people on the ward dying with it, still claiming that it was a hoax. And you had in this country family members trying to get a bloke off remember back in the day? God, it feels like so long ago. Family members trying to get a fella off intensive care, and he's lying there going, "I don't want to be on intensive care. It's all a hoax."
But even the people that whole 5G thing was real, because there was a guy that came to my shop every day. It was an open reach engineer, and he said literally people are like trying to pull the door open of his van and say, "You're giving us all 5G."
You're right. Yeah, setting fire to phone masts at the beginning, weren't they? Are they the same people that don't wear them? They probably are. There's a big crossover. Might be a Venn diagram that's pretty close to a circle.
I mean, you say you have to trust the British public. I kind of wish we'd done more like the French. At least they have a different kind of idea of, sort of republicanism and freedom in France. I mean, they did just get the police on the street, the army on the street, and just said at the beginning, didn't they? They said, "Where are you going? You go somewhere you don't need to go. Go home. Just go home, mate." And we were obviously Boris and this level of conservatism. They never want to be a big betrayal of what they're offering the people. And if you ever did that, they felt so. We just wanted to be soft and softer the whole time. And
indeed, and so I think I know the next bit. What do you think should happen on the 19th?
This is why I said I've got 2 points to unpack.
Because
yes, obviously we need to keep the masks up. You can't trust people. The minute you tell them it's relaxed, they'll be running around licking each other again. But literally, and sadly, on the other side, though, I now work for an internet service provider. I have done for the last 2 months. And I've seen that, like, you know, and unfortunately, it's a lot of the left-wing media. You see this idea going around, oh, you know what? Everyone can actually just work remotely forevermore now. This is the new way. This will be fine. And I think, unfortunately, that's going to walk us right into a massive class divide or a postcode divide. Because now that I work for an internet service provider, I've been shocked to see huge parts of London, the poorer parts, and places you'd expect to have, you know, state-of-the-art internet that can actually handle remotely working and having kids all at home doing their homework and whatever. They don't. They've still got, you know, old broken copper lines that were made in the 70s, the 80s that can barely handle, you know, do anything that people need to do. So it's okay if you live in a middle-class suburb, but I think if we do keep everyone at home, especially kids, because a lot of people are coming home now, kids are getting
that's not
you can't do the work.
No, I think this is a crucial point, and also, you know, even not postcodes, even relatively kind of, I don't think wealth is quite the right word, but younger people who are living in shared accommodation, working from home for them is an entirely different proposition, even if they've got really cool jobs.
So, I mean, I'm seeing the infrastructure literally on fire. I don't think anyone's talking about it. The internet infrastructure can't handle it right now. You know, there's a lot of kids. I get people.
Why
can't do homework. I can't work from home. My daughter can't work from home.
We came down. We came off air a couple of times because the kids were having their lessons on Zoom, and the internet at home couldn't cope with the weight of it. But why is that relevant to masks?
I just think we have to start to. It's the economic versus the health thing, isn't it? It's a bit of a hard. We do need to start relaxing it for the economic reasons and getting people back into work and things like that.
Why can't they wear a mask while they're doing all that? Oh, I see what you mean. There's some job. No, all right.
I think once you relax it, people won't. You know what I mean? It's unfortunately human nature with the way they are. The second you relax any of it, they're going to go,
So you're describing what we might call operational objections, as opposed to, and I use the word as loosely as it's ever been used, ideological. So you're talking about practicalities, whereas these self-appointed weirdo crusaders think that they're somehow protecting principles. You're pointing out practical.
We have to work together in these times. I mean, it's not about the principles. I don't know how many people really believe the state's taking over in some Machiavellian plot right now to crush our rights. Like, I used to believe in conspiracies when I was a kid, but I'm 28 now. I'm looking at it. I'm not going, it's a plan. It's just shit. Stuff happens.
Have a great day, Josh. Lovely stuff. And seeing as Josh is calling from Manchester, I'd remind you that I am on stage in Manchester on Sunday at 5 o'clock at the fantastic Homeland or Home Arts Centre in Tony Wilson Place. And I haven't actually checked whether there are any tickets left, but I can't wait. So I just thought I'd mention it to you, talking about my new book. God, William Ladbroke Grove's been waiting for ages. Sorry, Will, what would you like to say?
It's all right. How you doing, man?
I can't complain. Where do you stand on this one?
I think it's a weird kind of web situation, because there's so many different multifaceted kind of, even me, I was like walking around through this pandemic, feel like I'm like a living, breathing oxymoron. Like, half of what I think, you know, completely contradicts the libertarian in me, and then I'm like, oh, it's a massive health scare. And it's just, you know, I think you've got this. What seems to be happening is that I guess they're trying to spoon feed them enough small L libertarianism to, you know, to not upset the wheel and to keep everyone kind of in a state of, you know, my rights are protected, I'm all right, you know, because restrictions to me over this course of this whole thing, restrictions now, people who are broadly, you know, uneducated kind of Trumpian anti-establishment, politically old, whatever. And now seeing the word restrictions as my rights are gone, and they're seeing the mask as a sort of like, you know, a symbol of submission, which to me is obviously just for the birds. I think so, because it's like, you know, this is what was trumpeted by these people, by the Trumps, and by maybe not directly by Boris, but I suppose through his tributaries at the start of it. And it's like kind of like, oh, you've got a face nappy on, you know, you know, all this kind of like shaming people for kind of taking public.
I felt wimpy when I first started wearing one. I first started wearing one in town, and I think I was a bit ahead of the curve. I don't know why, but I was, probably because I do this for a living, so I'm looking at the bloody numbers every day. And I'd walk around, but only for about a fortnight. I said so at the time. And then you'd see someone on the other side of the road not wearing one, and you'd worry that it made you look a bit wimpy somehow, wouldn't you? But then you get over it.
Well, you get.
I'm going to stop James O'Brien now. Yeah, do you want to have a recap? I mean, as you speak about the COVID mask, it is quite irritational. Keep having to wear them in the heat, trying to breathe when you're going to shops, when you're queuing up to go to shops as well. I must admit, it's quite irritational, isn't it? Irritational. We call it irrational. Irrational. It's irrational, not irritational. Rational. But yeah, it's irritational as well. But yeah, it's It's just one of them things. You want to breathe, you want to gasp for air, and you're gasping for air because you've got a muzzle over your nose. It is especially this type of time of year, this climate. Really want to be breathing in that fresh air, in the heat. But it is what it is. Just to be kind. It's not the end of the world. Wear it, just lift it up a little bit if you need to get some air. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Nikki. I'm just on my radio show. I'll be with you shortly, and I'll chat with you. I've got another 10 minutes. Yeah, so the last few days we've been talking about criminology. I'm on my Castbox and YouTube as well. Yes, I am. I will send me an inbox and I'll mess it over to you. So last few days we've been talking about criminology, the thoughtful process of mens rea, the thought of murder, or acta reus, which is murder. Why do people have that psychomotor state turning from 0 to 100 in from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds? 0 to 100, 100 being high of going to kill someone. How can someone just automatically think, right, that's it, I'm going to stick a blade in the back of someone's neck or in someone's chest, in their heart? It's ludicrous. I'll ping it over to you now. I'm just on my radar. Bear with me a second. I'll send me an inbox and I'll ping it over to you. Right, so we're looking at criminology in Essex. As you know, the bar in Brentwood was thinking about closing down. There's 2 stabbings. Is it May? Yeah, May, the end of May. Yeah, we'll do. Batley and Spen are standing for election. Batley and Spen, or Batley and Spen, Batley and Spen, I say. Batley and Spen by-election results see Keir Starmer's Labour's hold. Batley and Spen, make sure you vote for Batley and Spen. They're trying to win the Conservative vote in their constituency. George Galloway, who targeted voters in a traditionally Labour areas with the aim of topping Sir Keir, came third. Sir Keir Starmer came third. He's not doing very well for the Labour government, is he? To be quite honest, I've heard quite a lot with the critics in the media just lately. Quite reluctantly, they are putting Sir Keir Starmer down. Kim Lead-Beater has won the Batley and Spen by-election in result, which will allow Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer to breathe a sieve of relief. Thank you for the gift. Labour faced turmoil in the West Yorkshire seat, was lost, but Miss Lead-Beater's success will ease the pressure of Sir Keir. She took the seat with 13,296 votes, or a majority of 323 over Tory candidate Brian Stevenson, after a bitter contest. You guys are watching me on my phone and listening on Castbox. I'm on my YouTube channel, that's why I'm looking just above my phone. You can follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channels, Proclamation News and Gather. It's quite a long word, but I'm studying history and politics, so I will ping it over to you just shortly. George Galloway, who targeted voters in traditionally Labour areas with the aim of topping Sir Keir, came third. The result means Miss Lead-Beater now represents a seat but previously held by sister Jo Cox, who was murdered in constituency in 2016. Sir Keir hailed the fantastic result for the brilliant and brave Miss Lead-Beater after a contest marred by allegation of dirty tricks and violence. Kim ran a positive campaign in hope of, in the face of division, he said. She will be an outstanding Labour MP for Batley and Spen. In her acceptance speech, Miss Batley said, I'm absolutely delighted that the people of Batley and Spen have rejected division and they voted for hope. She thanked her family, saying, without them, I could not have got through the last 5 years, never mind the last 5 weeks. Miss Lead-Beater, in reference to the controversy surrounding the campaign, said, I want to say a huge thank you. I've lost where I was now. Yeah. In her section, Lead-Beater, I'm absolutely delighted that the people back in Spen rejected division and they voted for of hope. She thanked Lead-Beater, in reference to the controversy surrounding the campaign, said, I want to say a huge thank you to the police, who sadly I have needed more ever over the last few weeks. She concluded the focus now is catching up on a bit of sleep, maybe having a few glasses of beers. And there's lots to do. And I think the campaign has highlighted there is lots to do. Let me just say something about the police. I mean, I've had a lot dealing with the police just lately. They're absolutely working magnificently to support my needs. I've had death threats. I've had fraud as well in my name. Police have acted sufficiently and corresponded with my actions. So it's absolutely magnificent what they do for the people. She concluded the focus, catch a bit of sleep and have maybe a few glasses of fizz. But I'm going to crack on with it and I'll do my very best to represent the whole of Batley and Spen as the new MP. I am absolutely delighted that the people of Batley and Spen have rejected the division and have voted for hope, she says. There you go. Man, my hospital. About another 10 minutes, guys, and I'm going to be with everyone and answer your queries. Man, my hospital with serious stab wound after attack in drugs-related incident. The victim's life was saved thanks to emergency services. Essex police were called to Fairfax Drive in Highfield Crescent in Westcliff at around 11 p.m. with reports of a man in his 30s found injured at the junction. The man rushed to hospital with a serious stab wound after attack in what police believed is a drugs-related incident. Essex police were called to Fairfax Drive and Highfield Crescent in Westcliff at around 11 p.m. with reports of a man in his 30s found injured at the junction. The man was taken to hospital by ambulance with treatment for a serious stab wound in his abdomen. Essex police confirmed that thanks to emergency services, the victim's life was saved. Detectives are now continuing to appeal for information and working through the night. Detective Inspector Steve Franklin said the victim suffered very serious injuries and it's thanks to the medical treatment he received that his life has been saved. We'd like to thank members of the public who assisted the victim and helped with our inquiry so far. We believe he was attacked near Brentwood Brook and the incident was drug-related. We'd like to hear from anyone who was in the area at the time and saw or heard anything, or has any camera footage that could help with our investigation. He added, we're committed to tackling violent and drugs-related crime, which often go hand in hand. And in the last month alone, our operator Rapture and distributor team seized hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of drugs, many several arrests and secured charges against suspected dealers. Intervention, rehabilitation and education are also crucial, and we work closely with partners such as Southend-on-Sea Borough Council, the Probation Service, Youth Offenders Team and Social Services and charities to help address the issues behind by people involved in a lifestyle that puts them in greater risk of harm. If you know anything about the incident, please do call Crime Stoppers. You call them anonymously on 0800 555 111. Or alternatively, you can call the police directly and give them your verdict of what you see or what you heard. So if you're in that area of Westcliff in Essex or you're from the surrounding area, please give. You're not grass, you're just making safety of the people. I've got 1 more minute, I'm with you. Give me 1 more minute to finish this. Chelmsford NHS workers lined his pockets. This is shocking racketeering. Chelmsford NHS worker lined his pockets with Essex hospital money. Barry Stannard has been jailed for defrauding hundreds of thousands of pounds for NHS and HMRC. Former senior IT team manager at the NHS Trust has been jailed for lining his pockets with money intended for the NHS services. Barry Stannard from Chelmsford, Essex, pleaded guilty last month to 2 charges of fraud by false representation and 2 charges of cheating the public revenue after defrauding NHS and HMRC of over £800,000. Over a 7-year period, the 53-year-old defrauded a total of £806,000, £299.80. He committed offences when he was head of United Communications at the Mid-Essex Hospital Service NHS Trust. MEHT has since been merged into Mid and South Essex NHS Foundation Trust. Concerns first arose after the trust ran a data matching exercise on its payrolls and accounts payable records alongside companies' household records. After initial investigation by local counter fraud specialist provider RSN, investigation was escalated to NHS counter fraud authorities, NHS CFA, National Investigation Service, when it became clear that specialist financial investigation powers would be required. It's very, very shocking to read. Absolutely shocking. But some people might say it's good they got away with it so long, but to me, that is shocking, absorbing information. Thank you, Joe Public. Thank you, everyone, for coming through. Appreciate it. Nice to see good friends and people support my show. Thank you ever so much, Joe. Appreciate you coming through, buddy. It's nice to see new friends coming in. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. I've done a short show today. I usually do it over an hour, but I'll cut it short and I'll get on my day. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, ladies and gents. I'm going to stay. You take care, guys. Thank you for tuning in and speak soon. I'll be back again tomorrow.